Hello, Asha fans, back for another episode of Behind the Bench, our YouTube series talking with Division One head coaches. Today we go up north. We go to Flagstaff with Coach Kyle Palmer. Coach, how are you? Thanks so much for doing this.
Doing good, doing great.
Now, a start for you must be doing great. 5-0 to start the season. You lead Division One. You're at the top of the standings. What has kind of been? Has this been a start that you guys expected? And are you a little surprised? Where do you kind of stand on this start so far?
Yeah, I don't know if it's where we expected it specifically. This year I think D1's a little bit different than teams are a little bit different, obviously, this year than what they were in the past. We we knew we'd be a decent team and we knew we'd be playing good. But yeah, a little bit unexpected as far as going 5-0 to start. So, yeah.
We taped this on October 1st, where you guys are 5-0 in 5 games. When you look at unexpected, and well, I don't, maybe we're not as educated as others on Will Smith, but how great has this kid been? 10 goals. He leads Asha. He's tied for the lead in points right now as well at the D1 level. What does he bring to your team and what does he do so well?
Liam is yeah, so he goes by Liam. William, Liam doesn't matter. But yeah, so Liam is he's our captain of our team. So he's a huge leader on our team, very vocal. But as far as skill goes, he's super skilled. He's a grinder. He's definitely the first kid to get on the ice. He's definitely the last kid to leave. We do 6 a.m. practices. He's definitely the last kid. He's out there doing 1Ts and stuff. He's just a grinder. He just wants to get better. He wants to see his team win. He's a great leader. Yeah, he's all around like stud. He's very good.
So you have Liam with 16 points. I think your
Yeah.
offense has been something that's been so impressive with 10 goals one game, six the next. Jax Hickey and Loxley and Welker. How has it come together so quickly offensively when usually, for every team, it takes a little bit to get everybody to gel?
Yeah, I think a lot of this core group of kids like Loxley, Welker, Hickey, they've all been playing together for this is their third year together. So I think it's just we're kind of at the pinnacle as far as how I came in 3 years ago. Just our systems and how our offense is kind of like fitting together, and everything's kind of at the pinnacle right now, and everything's sort of just gelling really really good. And so they're just able to score goals. And we've struggled in the past couple of seasons. Our skill level has always been there. We've just struggled to put pucks in the back of the net, and it just seems like everything's clicking right now for them, and they're all on the same page, moving the puck great. And yeah, so and obviously working out for us in the goal situation. So scoring a lot of goals. So
So you have this 5-0 start. You're a fourth of the way through the D1 season of 20 games. How do you kind of taper, not expectations, but how do you kind of taper the excitement? I mean, the team must be pumped up, ready to go every time, but it's still a very long season.
super. We got a little bit lucky with our season, not trying to downplay the other teams we played, but there's a couple teams that I think will be on the lower end of D1 that we played early. That was really good for us. I think got our feet wet, got us kind of in the groove. You know what I mean? We got kind of a meat and potatoes type stuff coming up here soon. We got Notre Dame next. We play Mountain Ridge at home in a couple games. So we're gonna have to go into those games, with the same mentality that we've gone into. We've been trying to put up a lot of shots. We've been trying to put in, we had a couple games with 50 shots, so that's kind of the goal right now is get as many shots as we can on net, and just see what happens. But yeah, the mentality I think is still go in as fast as we can, get on the board as fast as we can, and then just never give up. And so yeah, we'll definitely have a test in those two teams for sure. So
I know this weekend you mentioned you play Notre Dame. Do you kind of look at that game as kind of, whatever the result may be, win or loss, kind of where you stand right at the current spot, knowing Notre Dame is probably a top three team?
yeah, absolutely. Notre Dame's a great team. We played them in seeding. And we about half our team came up from D2. They're new D1 kids. They're really good. Notre Dame's just super fast and they're super aggressive and they're very physical. And I think it was kind of a shell shock to them. Our first period, I think they put up 4 goals on us or something like that. They settled in. We ended up having the same amount of shots with them, so I think it'll be a good test for us. I think we compare pretty evenly with them. I feel like skill wise. But yeah, they go hard and they're big and they're physical and they like to hit. So yeah, I think Notre Dame's a good one for us to go up against. If we can hang with them, I think we'll be good through the season. So
Now let's stay with your offense a little bit. You mentioned those core group of players that you've had for a little bit, but you mentioned you had a good amount of roster turnover coming into this year. Who are some of those newer players that have impressed you so far?
Yeah, so the new kids we have this year that are really good. Obviously, Ben Cook. He's had a couple tucks already this year. Had a disgusting short-handed goal last game. Ben Cook, he's a great kid. He's got tons of hands. He's just getting to like the point where he's like really athletic now. So things are like catching up. His speed's catching up. He's always had great hands, great vision. He has a twin brother, Matt Cook, who plays defense for us. He's obviously super good, moves the puck really well. He'll start scoring a lot, maybe I feel like towards the end of the year. Right now, he's just kind of getting his feet under him with the D1 stuff. And then we have Jaden and Eli. Eli is a smaller kid, but man, he's like really smart. Same thing. He'll end up getting a bunch of assists. Not a like pure goal scorer, but definitely he'll get on the stats with assists. But those are the kids right now that are really kind of carrying us that came up from D2 to D1 this year.
Now, Coach, please clarify. You have the Cook twins. Is that
Yeah,
also related to Sam Cook, who you had for a couple of years
that
before?
is correct. Yeah, Sam Cook is was their older brother. There's five Cook boys. Philip Cook is a goalie. He's our D2 goalie slash D1. He'll play a lot of D1 games too. That is also their brother. Yeah, so the
So are
Cook
you
boys.
going Cook on the back with the first initial as well?
Yeah, that's how they've been doing it. Yeah, so it's like yeah, M Cook and yeah, exactly.
Love it. Love it. Let's talk about your defense because with any successful team, you got to have a really strong defense. Who has been
Yep.
impressive for you on your back end?
So Welker, obviously, Welker is probably one of our more skilled guys. Him and Liam, they definitely can carry our team. Christian Welker, he's been a forward his whole life. He started playing D for us last year. It just kind of settled right in. He's an awesome defenseman. Our D core is not too bad. We've got some younger guys. We've got three of them are sophomores, so there's some younger D guys on the back end. Defensively really good. We're just working on moving the puck, getting the puck up and stuff, and getting them involved a little bit. Trying to get at least one two-way guy on every line. Just that way we add a little firepower. Maybe score a couple more goals. So yeah.
When you bring those D2 guys up, especially defensemen, what is the thing that they really maybe struggle with at the beginning at the D1 level?
Oh, 100% speed, and then just how physical it is. So I know D2 they'll hit and stuff, and they're still big physical guys on D2, but it's a little different when they're skating a little bit faster. So the speed is the biggest adjustment. I'd say that's the one thing that we had to get adjusted to in seating, especially like the first time we saw Pinnacle Notre Dame was they're fast and they're big, and I think it's just a little bit of a speed adjustment, but they're settling in now, and we've been grinding pretty hard in practices, working on defensive stuff. But yeah, the speed was the first thing, but I think they're there now. So
I think an advantage for you guys, and especially looking around Division One, is you actually have a goalie that's returning. There's a lot
yeah.
of goalies around D1 that are playing their first year at the D1 level. Lincoln Mayalley's been playing at the D1 level for a couple of years. So how has he kind of progressed over his years with your program?
Yeah, Lincoln, man, he's awesome. He's always been a good kid. He played AAA Coyotes as a younger kid. Came back to Flagstaff his sophomore year. So this is our third year. He's a senior this year. He's just developed it. We have such a cool like group of kids. All these kids that we have right now grew up at some point playing club hockey as youth together. I actually coached so Liam Smith, Christian Welker, Wesley Loxley, Lincoln Miale. When they were 12 years old, I coached these kids, and so I've known these kids for a long time. We have a really good rapport with each other. They've just all sort of developed together, and I think when you know you have to play good for your team, not just because it's your team, but also because it's your buddies. You go to school with them and everything. I think it makes a big difference, and so they want to grind a little harder to do that.
Does it give you kind of maybe an extra smile on your face seeing these kids progress over the last, 5, 6 years?
Oh, for sure. Development's so awesome to see these kids. Like, I have so like Google Photos, for example, will pop up with some like, photo or video from 7 or 8 years ago, and you see these tiny little kids, and now you see them now they're like almost adults, or some of them are adults. Like Jack Hickey's 18, and it's crazy just to see like where they've come and how they developed, and how they are as human beings, not just hockey players. But yeah, it's awesome to see that for sure.
So, coach, you sit at 5-0 right now, and if I told you this, a month ago or whatever, you'd absolutely sign for it. Has your expectations changed from maybe preseason to now?
No, not really. I knew we'd be able to compete. I figured we'd be towards not the top. Like right now, obviously 5-0, we're leading in standings right now. It's early, but I knew we'd be in the top five. I feel like going into this season, just because the group of kids we have right now, They played together. They're learning all the systems that we've been working on for the last 2 or 3 years, and they've got it all kind of dialed. So I knew we'd be a decent team. I knew we'd kind of fly under the radar coming into the season too, just because I think we had 9 seniors last year on D1 that are gone. So I knew we'd kind of fly in under the radar and be a little bit better than expected. But so I don't think the expectation has changed too much. I expect to still be in the top 4 or 5 at the end of the year. Surprising start, but expectation stays the same. I think we'll still be in that top 4 or 5 spot.
Now, last year you made it through the play-in game and you got to play at Mullet Arena in the quarterfinals against the eventual champion Centennial Coyotes. How was that experience? And does your team kind of have that hunger now that they want to go back and play at the big rink?
Oh yeah, 100%. Yeah, that was awesome last year. It was a lot of fun. We did end up meeting Centennial and they whooped us, but and they were a heck of a team too. But yeah, I think that's all part of it now. It's like, hey, we want to play on the big stage. This is a good year. We'll be able to maybe go maybe more than one into the playoffs, and so I think there's a little bit of a hunger right now for these kids, especially now they're undefeated so far through 5. They're definitely like chomping at the bit to push the season and go hard. So.
Absolutely. Now I want to end it off with a fun one, Coach. And you've had a couple home games so far. You beat Centennial 8-1 earlier this year. Do you guys feel like maybe you have the best home ice advantage, knowing that teams got to take the 2-hour drive up, 7,000 feet up as
Yeah,
well? Do you kind of take pride in that, saying when we do play home games, we want to win and protect our home ice?
we do. We do have an advantage, I feel like, a little bit on that. Now, obviously, we travel to the Valley for all of our games, so you could see it both ways, but it is a little bit different for a team to come to Flagstaff, you know what I mean? Because they're not used to coming up here all the time. They might have to come up one time a year. So it is nice to kind of pull teams out of their element and get them into Flagstaff. And it is fun, obviously, a higher elevation. So you'll see teams kind of like pitter patter out towards the third period and stuff. And so it is awesome to be able to have them come up here and see what we get to deal with. So yeah, it is. We have a lot of pride to play at home.
So, Coach 5-0, we'll see you around the rink. Big test this week against Notre Dame. We thank you so much for the time. We wish you guys a great rest of your season.
Yeah, thank you very much. Thanks for having me.